Hey, it's your lucky day. It's Brad Stein Has Issues with God's Comic Brad Stein, his sidekick Wyatt Leroy Stein. What is this show all about? It's where comedy, Christianity, and conservatism collide in a cacophony of clarity. Oh, do we have a special guest tonight? Why? Well, because all of you, especially those of you who are Christian folks, that's most of my audience listening or watching, those who are on Apple Tunes or on whatever the other thing is, I just forgot, Spotify, on Life Audio, on Salem Network, or watching on Brad Stein Has Issues on YouTube. You love The Chosen. It's dangerous, though. Isn't it heretical? Isn't it actually Mormon? Haven't you always wanted to know? Well, there's only two guys I know of that would really know what's going on. One would be Dallas Jenkins, the director and producer and creator of The Chosen. And the next guy is his first AD or assistant director, Adam Drake. He's here tonight. We're going to talk to Adam Drake, the behind-the-scenes man that's been there from day one of filming every single episode of The Chosen. So if you are a type of person that finds this a fascinating, fun, amazing, enthralling, inspiring series, then you're going to want to hear the inside scoop, things you would not know unless you came to Brad Stein Has Issues. If you have not subscribed, if you have not liked, if you have not shared, if you have not hit notification, do it now. The Lord is telling me, say it again, Lord. He's saying do it now or he cannot be pleased with you and he will have to think of something other than locusts, because that's been done already and he doesn't like to be redundant. Wyatt, good to have you, son. You are my sidekick. You are, in fact, my favorite repartee guy, a guy that I like to, like we call it, the witty banter. The banter's for sure. The witty, it's a toss-up. So what do you think today? Just anticipating, we haven't really jumped in yet. Do you anticipate some serious witty today, or do you think it's going to, I don't know, be less than witty and folks are going to say, poor guys, they tried so hard, but clearly this isn't their forte?
I don't think it's going to be serious witty, unfortunately. However, there is a slight forecast for witty seriousness.
With a downgrade pressure point of may flop or pathetic puns.
Yeah, well, a drizzle is the official meteorological term.
Okay, so that would be a metaphor for people weeping, waiting for the funny.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, good. Well, listen, I don't know if you know this. You probably don't, because you don't keep up on every place your dad goes when he performs. And the reason you don't do that, son, is from what I understand, at least what you've told me, most of your days are spent on your knees praying for me and my well-being. And I appreciate that. Matter of fact, you were praying for me this morning?
Yeah, hands and knees, full mantra, you know, the whole thing.
So you're a Hindu now?
No. I mean, I just looked up religious words before the podcast started.
And you chose one that had nothing to do with Christian.
Yes, but it sounds like it to someone who wasn't well versed.
So what you're saying is it's a cultic counterfeit to see if people can get sucked in. Ironic, son, because we're talking about the Chosen series with their first AD, Adam Drake, today. And some people have claimed that it is, in fact, a cultic, heretical, blasphemous series, because they don't do the Bible word for word. See, there's a lot of things that happen in the Bible, Wyatt. I don't know if you're aware of this.
I am aware that lots of things happen in the Bible, yes.
Well, but you've apparently been sticking with Hinduism for a while, so I wanted to
know. No, I only thought the word sounded fun.
It is a fun word. I'm just saying, in a Christian market.
I mean, most one-syllable words are fun to say.
They are, like the word
moist.
That's a good one.
It just rolls off the tongue. So
hey,
sweet.
Is that almost onomatopoeia? And it's not, but almost.
It's like slant onomatopoeia,
It is, because it feels like I get it.
I definitely feel more wet after saying it.
And guess what? If I say wet, it doesn't sound as wet as moist.
Yeah, but moist is definition-wise not as wet.
But it sounds wetter.
It sounds wetter, but it isn't wetter. Phonetically. It's weird.
It is weird. And that's why people just flock to our
Oh man, I
podcast.
can just imagine everyone in the comments going, "Yeah,
Yeah.
they did the moist bit."
Talk more
Yeah.
H2O. More H2O.
At this rate, it's gonna be H3O.
Oh, yes. Or H2O squared.
I think that's hydrogen peroxide that will kill you.
Oh, yikes. I'm sorry. I'm glad that we have a scientific expert here to correct me when I get my equations.
Yeah, we keep him in the basement. I usually, consult him from time to time whenever I have to.
Are we ever going to let that guy out? He just wants to go home.
I mean, the door's unlocked. We told him to head out. I think at this point he just likes the free food and board.
Well, yes, it is good. Yes, it's soup and bread, but what the heck? For some folks, that's enough.
I mean,
That's
hey,
plenty.
man.
He's an aesthetic. He sits out and prays. He's a monk. We has just his little robe we gave him.
Well, he's the one who taught me mantra.
I gotcha.
He also taught me Hindu, but that's a different conversation.
Well, and that was simply so you could differentiate between Christian, which is true, and Hindu, which is false.
Well, yeah, it was. I asked him. So I saw this word like mantra, and I really hope it's Christian because it really sounds fun to say. And he's just like, oh,
Yeah,
I
like
can't-
you
I
thought he
can't-
was wounded.
no. I thought I could use the word because it was Christian, but he said no, it was Hindu. So I can't use that really cool word.
So Hindu or Herdu, either one could use. It's not gender specific.
Listen. I'm sure if any religion has gone woke, Hindu is definitely.
Well, they
on
got
for
a
this.
ton of gods. So
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah, of course. I mean, come on.
So somewhere in there's a Wookiee.
There's gotta be, right?
Yeah,
Like,
woke
in fact, I'm surprised that no religion hasn't created a Patreon god of woke. Well, sorry,
Oh.
a Patreon they them.
Patron, not Patreon. Patreon is what people do.
Did
when
did I say Patreon?
You
Oh
did.
no.
Yeah, you did. And I know you were thinking, hey, how are people going to help fund our ministry and allow this to grow? And you were thinking Patreon, and I get it. We're going to have a big push for our help for next year, 2026. Not quite yet. We're getting there. Once you get a commercial put together, what you said you were doing, and
It's
I trust.
on the process.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll bet it is.
But anyway,
Mm,
to get back to the joke,
mm.
I said a patron god of woke. What I should have said was a patron they them of woke.
Ah, perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing about the Hindu god, the Vishnu. It's like or is it Vishnu? It's like a lot of arms. It's kind of girly guy. It is a kind of a gender mix, a hybrid. So it's not. We're kind of not just sort of mocking somebody's religion, but in fact referencing what it actually looks like. But this is an important point, and I'll tell you why. So we're bringing Adam Drake on, who is the first AD in The Chosen, as we've already mentioned numerous times. But The Chosen has been controversial, Wyatt. It's been controversial because they take liberties, I guess would be the best way to say, with the texts of the Bible. Now, here's what they do. Have you ever watched The Chosen? Seen any episodes?
I don't think you've shown me any.
Yeah, it's not mine. It's all over the internet. Actually, you can go jump on it yourself.
But
You don't need me.
Look, I didn't know it existed, and you weren't gonna show me it, so I
Yes.
didn't see anything.
Okay, well, have you heard of The Chosen?
Yes, about 2 minutes ago.
Okay, so that's why you were so confused editing him. He's like, still don't know what I'm talking about.
Like, who's chosen? Is
Yeah.
he chosen? Am I
Yeah.
chosen? Who's chosen?
Well,
here?
he's here. We must have chosen him, so we've already proved our point.
Is he talking about that we chose him for the interview?
Yeah. Anyways, clearly that's going to show up in the final edit where everything's going to be confounded and confused. But it's all right, son. Why change what works for us?
Well, yeah. Honestly, why change, audience? Why change?
Mm.
Like, honestly, if your life is technically still working, then clearly what you're doing is good enough.
Mhm.
Why not just stick with that?
That's right. Like an alcoholic, you just stick stuck.
As long as you're not dead, you're technically doing it not as bad as you could.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Not saying you're doing good.
Mm.
However, you can make the argument that it's not bad enough to change.
Yes. So they're stick stuck. They stick stuck. And that's not the best way to live your life. So now I'm really
but it is
confused.
a way.
No, I think it's wonderful that you're continuing on the theme of first false religion, and now you're allowing addicts to stay.
Listen. My entire personality on this show has been making fun of either you, me, or this podcast, or some combination of the three.
Right.
At this point, I'm branching out and making fun of other people.
Oh, so you're becoming like
a real comedy.
like the Don Rickles of podcastians.
Sure, yeah.
Let me
let's
guess.
go
You
with
don't
that.
know who Don Rickles is. For
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I'm older than you by a tad.
You think? It's
Uh,
been 3 years and you just find this out now?
well, anyway.
Hmm.
Here's,
Boy, I got a bridge to sell you, pal.
where is it?
It's the Golden Gate Bridge.
Oh, how much is it?
It's worth its weight in gold.
Okay, well, I'm sure it weighs a ton. But here's the...
Several, actually.
I'm guessing, yeah, concrete. Here's the thing, though. The Chosen is controversial. Now, the reason it's controversial is this, in case you don't know, and clearly you don't, is that it's the life of Jesus and the apostles, right? And they do go through the books of the Bible and they tell all these amazing stories of the single most amazing story of the single most amazing human, of the single most amazing influential person of all time, Jesus Christ, the one, the only, the game changer, as I've said before. If you are ever curious which religion you should lean towards, if you're thinking religion, why not go with the guy that has done what no one else has done? We actually had the dates of the years named after him. He actually has a book written about him that's 1,500 years in the making, the biggest seller of all time, the largest religion in human history, the one that tells you to do things that don't make any sense, like love your enemies and pray for those who despitefully use you. So he's a guy of all guys, and he did miraculous things, and he wasn't a myth. He was a real guy, and people saw it. You can say they just faked it. Okay, you can believe that too. But nevertheless, this is how it was recorded by a real person, did a real thing. So I always reemphasize this because I want you to understand there is no such thing as, oh, yeah, you want to believe in God? Well, which one? There's so many. Yeah, there are a lot of gods, little g, but there's only one that did things that would coherently attach to what God would look like if he became, and this is the key, a human. This is what makes it so fascinating. He didn't stay stuck or stick stuck as the transcendent, which he's there, the Father is there, but he also said, the only way I can really have access to you guys and your ability to interact with me is if you can connect to me in a way that makes sense to you. You know, I was thinking about this this morning, Wyatt. I want to get your thoughts on this. I've wondered in my life, and I wonder if you do too, because you're really smart, and I know you think things through, and you love philosophy stuff like your old man. So, have you ever wondered why it feels sometimes really challenging to understand things that God does? If we believe in God, and we do, but yet things happen in our lives or happen around the world, and we think, "Gee, why would God do that? Why wouldn't He intervene?" So, I mean, it's kind of a rhetorical question, but it just sets up our repartee. Have you ever had questions about this? Why would God do that?
I mean, yeah, there's been times where I don't understand immediately what the end goal is.
Yeah.
I think that's a common thing.
But does it seem common that you get frustrated? Like, listen, if you were real, you'd make it easier to understand this part of you. Has that ever crossed your mind?
No, I'm so go with the flow that I always just trust the process.
Okay. All right. So you just trust God, whatever he does.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll work out in the end. And if not, then it wasn't meant to be.
Well, that's great. I mean, that is literally what the word says, that I've been rich, I've been poor, and I've learned this in all things, be content. So if you figured that out, son, you're way ahead of the game. I will give you credit for that. But
hey, it was the monk in the basement. He really helped me through those tough times.
When you heard the ridiculousness of Hinduism, it drove you to Christianity.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That makes it. Now it's all becoming crystal.
Now the joke's gone full circle.
Full circle.
Yeah.
All right. And of course, that's what we believe in, a circle, which is eternal.
Circle of life. Yes, of course. That, yes.
So here's what I was going at. It was an idea that I was pondering, because one thing that God did promise us is wisdom. He said, at least in 2 scriptures, that if you ask for wisdom, he will give it to you liberally. Now, here's the thing. I take him at his word. So I have gone to God in the last, I don't know how long, year maybe, and I said, you promised me wisdom. Well, guess what? I will take every drop you got. I will take make me the most wise human that has ever existed on earth. I'm not going to be, because they said Solomon was. But I'm asking for it. You said I could have it. I'll take every drop. I don't know what that means. I don't know how far that'll get me to get closer to you, but give me the drops of wisdom. I want every bit. I want to be full so that I can understand God, to get closer to him, and it enhances my belief journey, but that allows me to help others and maybe walk them through some of their challenges. So that's really my point. But here was something that I was thinking about God. You know, remember when we had William Lane Craig on, right? He was one of by far my most favorite guests, and I love all our guests. I do. I'm not just saying that. And there's been some amazing guests that I really, really, really wanted in my bucket list. And there's at least, if I had my top 10, I've had at least 2 on, Stephen Meyer and William Lane Craig, that are in the bucket list. So I got 8 to go. But he said the idea of, in philosophy, you can't have, I forgot what I just blanked on the term, but anyways, you can't have a married bachelor, right? You can't have a square circle, right? Because they're incoherent, they're illogical. You can turn a circle into a square, if God can at least, or make a married guy suddenly unmarried or whatever. You can become a bachelor. But it has to be something else. You can't be A and B simultaneously. Do you know what that's called? Isn't there a philosophical term for not being able to be two different things at the same time simultaneously? Do you know?
I don't know what the actual term is.
Okay,
No,
okay.
I'll consult the monk.
Please speak and maybe go while I'm rambling. But I thought about that. I said, but what it says is this way, and I want you to think about this now. It says that there are things God can't do. Now, wait a minute. I thought the definition of omnipotent was all powerful. There is nothing God can't do. But that isn't true, son. God can't not be God. God can't sin. His nature wouldn't allow that. As a matter of fact, sin is what would be a degrading of his ontology, because he's perfectly holy. So to be in sin would reduce him to less than God. So there are things he can't do, okay? And that doesn't make him suddenly not powerful. It's consistent with the natural laws in the universe. That's why you can't have you can't be up and down at the same time, or whatever. You can't have a squared circle. Okay.
So according to the monk, it's non-duality or monism.
Oh, monism. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Mm-hmm. So, well, wait, I thought monism was more about everything is like one, and like there's an ultimate idea that everything is attached to. I was thinking that was monism. So
maybe but non-duality is definitely
okay. Okay, well, that would make sense. Yeah. And so here's what I was thinking. I want to get your thoughts on this. You're pretty smart. At least that's the illusion we've created over the last 4 years. What if, when God created us and we're less than him, he can't create another him, because that means there'd be more than one perfect absolute, that being of which nothing greater can be thought. There'd be one more, and that means he isn't the most great that could be thought, but there's 2 of them. So he's limited to a certain degree by his nature. So I was thinking about this. So what if when he made humans, son, he made them as connected to him as possible, which he said, I've made you in my image, right? Which means ontologically we have similar emotional ideas. We laugh because he laughs. We cry because I guess he cries. He gets angry. So he can create. We procreate, right? So he made us in his image. We have similarities, but obviously in a limited capacity. But my thinking was, what if God said, I want you to connect to me. I want you to have access to me. I want you to be able to reference me. I want you to be able to be in fellowship with me, but no matter how close I get to you, here's the big idea. No matter how close I create something that gets close to me, understanding me, it's still like just light years distance from actually being equal to God. Not because he stopped at a particular space, literally by his own makeup. This is as close as we can get to anybody that could know God, just because he is so much more advanced than we could ever imagine. If you took omniscience, knowing everything there is to know, and you think to yourself, let's say we give humans way benefit of the doubt that we know 1% collectively over the history of humanity of what can be known. 99% of it he has. So that's how far the gap is from God and human. As a matter of fact, it's probably why, it has to be why he revealed himself through Christ, who was human, because that's the closest he could get to connecting to us by not bringing us closer, but by lowering himself and becoming as us. So I wonder if by his nature, when he creates us, we're automatically a certain variable, a way that is insurmountable. And that's why we have to trust him when he says, I know what I'm doing, because he couldn't even explain it to us because it would be so deep. So that's my premise. What do you think?
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Okay, well,
that's what you wanted me to say, right?
That ends that inquiry. There goes.
I mean, if you think
there goes that thought experiment.
I'm just saying, like, I'm just saying, like, that's like the ultimate way to diffuse any philosophical argument is.
Or you're just getting sick of having a philosophical.
Exactly.
You know what? Yeah, I agree.
You know what? Yes.
Yeah, but I know you're joking. It's fine, and it's a great response. But I do want to ask you though seriously, and I know you don't know what I'm going to say, so you weren't really prepared. But it was just instinctively. Do you think I'm onto something? Would that kind of make sense? That maybe there's only so close another created being can get to God to be like him just by his nature. He's that insurmountable.
I mean, I would say, yeah. I think the non-duality argument is an interesting way of looking at it.
Okay, go on.
Meaning, since there can't be two gods or beings of God power, then no other being but God could be exactly him. There would be some limit,
right? By his nature, it's impossible to be like him, because that's what gives you the definition God. You are that which nothing greater can be thought.
Yeah.
You're the pinnacle. And so nothing's going to get close to you. Even he can't go against his own nature and make somebody else equal to him. Now, we're Christians. We believe in a triune God. So he's one monotheistic God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but he also has God the Son, God the Holy Spirit, and God him. But they're all natures of themselves. It's kind of like, it's like this podcast will go on for centuries, as long as the internet exists, even when I'm dead. So if somebody is watching this, let's say right now, and I'm looking into the future, and 500 years from now, somebody stumbled upon this podcast, and you'll go, that guy died 500 years ago. Well, he's long gone. We know where his grave is, or whatever. I'm here live in flesh in 3 dimensions, but they're watching me on film. Well, both of the real guy and the guy you're watching on video are equal. I mean, we're both the same guy, but we're in different kind of dimensions. We're in different ways of viewing us, of interacting with us. So same guy, but there are other ways that our nature can be deposited into the atmosphere. So to say, for example, the Holy Spirit, right, is God, Christ said, I'm going to give you the Comforter, the Holy Spirit, the one I use that gives me access to God. Well, the Spirit that's inside of me is me, but it's not me. It's a spirit. It's in conjunction with. It's still me, nobody else's. So that's a way to be its own entity, the Spirit, but the Spirit is directly connected to God the Father and is in unison with him. So it really is the same, but I mean, what we're really talking about? Physics. We're talking about physics, metaphysics, what do you call it? What's that big physics thing that I just blanked on? But the big hardcore, difficult quantum mechanics, maybe
quantum physics.
Quantum. Yeah. Where a lot of that quantum physics is very esoteric. It's very out in the atmosphere that is almost unprovable, I guess. It's all speculative without really even getting there, but we think it's true. So it's kind of mysterious. I wish we had a mysterious sound on our mysterious board after I said quantum mechanics and God are quite mysterious. Okay, well,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
rolled the dice. There would be some kind of Twilight Zone theme or something to jump in there. But
Listen. I'm not risking it with the soundboard. Okay, not now.
I'd say after that deep discussion, had it been chirping crickets.
There we go. That's the Twilight theme one.
Yeah, but it's so outside of where we were now that it's just becoming annoying.
What? Oh, yeah.
It needs to happen when I say the mysterious thing while people are still in the grips of concern about quantum mechanics and God.
If they were seriously like awestruck by it, they would have sang it in their heads.
All right, so let me ask you this. Yeah, it's true. They would have sang it in their heads. Or, as my grandson likes to say when I watch him eat and I didn't see him pray, he says, "No, Grandpa, I prayed in my brain." So let me say this to you guys. Adam Drake is coming on the program. And before he does, I do want to give a shout out to Kokomo, Indiana. Why, you might ask? Well, just 2 nights ago, I was performing at a church in Kokomo, Indiana. And it was fun. It was exciting. People loved it. It was full. Everybody enjoyed it. And it's, of course, my Laugh While It's Legal tour. Though you guys, if you're out there watching this, should know, even though Laugh While It's Legal, which is my latest album, which is available, and you can go purchase it on YouTube and other places, or even on my website soon. I want you to know that I am immediately, like I always do, once a new project has been locked in, I'm working out the next album. It's the only way comedy works. You got to always be working out new material, and I'm doing that as we speak. So you will see Laugh While It's Legal. If you happen to watch Laugh While It's Legal, saw the full 1 hour comedy performance, and you came out, you're going to see some of that material because that's kind of what I'm touring on. But I'm also going to be working out new material. So you'll kind of see what's going to be in the next album if God gives me permission to live that long. And there is no guarantees. But I wanted to get back to The Chosen. Why? Well, because Adam Drake, the first AD, is the guy that we are going to be interviewing here in just a few minutes. Like I said, if you love it, you're going to hear the upsides to it and some of the inside baseball that you wouldn't know about what's going on in the making of that. You know, we had was it Zacchaeus? I remember one of the players on the Chosen was on the program a while ago as well. So we are not anti-Chosen. And I got to tell you something. The first time I saw the clip, the trailer for The Chosen, and I mentioned this, so I'll leave it to the interview to finish it out. But what I do remember is this. I remember thinking, well, I'm not going to watch it because I've seen, the problem with making another biblical epic dealing with the Bible, the Gospels, is I kind of know the ending. I've read this book many, 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 many times. Crucial, important. It's the revelation of reality, but I've seen it. I don't need another version of Jesus on the Sermon on the Mount. I'll read it. I'll let God meditate on it. I'll let it hopefully drive me to be a disciple. But I don't know. And oftentimes it's just the same old people dressed up in the same old Middle Eastern looking thing. And I don't know. I'm just saying I've seen it. Okay. So they had a clip of the woman at the well, and she comes up to Jesus and he's like, "Hey, go tell your husband to come here and I'll talk to you." And she goes, "I don't got one." He goes, "That's right, because you got like 5. And if you read it, it says, then she ran to the town and said, "Come see the guy that's told me everything about myself." And you're going, well, he didn't tell you everything about it. He said you had 5 husbands. So he knew a little bit about that you aren't easily content with your husbands and your domestic situation. But then they said something to the effect of, your first husband's name was Josiah, and he smelled of oranges. He used to walk with one sandal over his whatever. And he started going into these interesting details about this guy. Well, it's not in the Gospels. It's not there. So people have complained, well, this is heretical. There is no, you can't just write biblical elements into the Bible. It's already been sanctified. It's already been locked down. This is the word of God. And so, no, we can't just take liberties. And yet I felt like, to me, it was beautiful because it's kind of like, well, what did he say that made her feel like he knew more about her than he did? And the answer is, we don't know. Just like when Jesus is at 12 was in the temple and his parents came back saying, what the heck? Why didn't you tell? We were scared to death because you were gone. You were lost. And then suddenly he brings in his ministry at 30, right? So it's like, what happened to all those other years in between? What was going on then? And so we don't know. And some people have speculated that he went to Egypt, Africa, I think, and learned something there. And this is usually some kind of heretical idea that he went and learned from the Buddhas or whatnot. Some people, Wyatt, think that he went to learn from a Hindu guy in a basement.
He was a monk, not a Hindu.
That's it. That's right. A Hindu monk. Isn't he a Hindu monk? Or he just says mantras, but he's confused about which belief system he's engaged in.
Oh, monk's Hindu? I thought monk was his own thing.
Well, you
Like
said
Buddhist or
he
something.
did a mantra, which is the Hindu, and then you said he was a monk, which is Catholic. And I'm so confused at this point that I wonder to myself, is this your game? You want to have me confused. You want to see if I can think on my feet. You want to see if I can overcome this disassociation with actual sentences that are cohesive. You want to see if your dad can be stumped in real time. And son, if you haven't learned anything from the old man, not only can you never stump me, you can never defeat me. You just need to sit at my feet and unlatch my sandals. If you're worthy, wash them with your tears, wash my feet with your hair, and then listen to my insight. And I promise, it ain't Hindu.
I just thought of something.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a monk. I think he's just some homeless guy I found on the street. He was just
Dang it!
spouting random nonsense.
That's why
That-
he smelled of elderberries.
I just thought he was like really devoted to the whole. But yeah, no, that makes sense now.
Okay, maybe he wasn't saying mantra, he was saying man trap. I'm in a man trap.
No, I think it was saying mantra. I just don't think he knew what it meant.
Okay.
I think he thought it sounded cool, which to be fair, it does.
Well, and if you have a psychosis, making up words can comfort you. It's like having a little teddy bear. Except
But that's are you saying mantra is a made up word invented by an imaginary homeless man we have in our basement that doesn't exist? Because that's a little bit on the nose, if I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, son, that who's to say that we're not a brain in a vat, too? So just saying.
Well, the monk says that.
He
Which is
said
another.
he did indicate we've escaped the vat.
Well, no, that's another reason why I think he's just some random homeless guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, here's what I wanted to ask you, though. Now, you edited the Adam Drake interview, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I had somebody else do that.
Oh, his name isn't Al Indigo, or as we like to call him, AI, was it?
Oh, no.
How's Al doing?
No, honestly, no. I was going to make a joke about, I don't know, the monk or some other random person I can come up with, but
yeah.
no. I refuse to even entertain the idea, the notion that I would ever let an AI touch my editing prowess.
Let me ask you this, son. So in the editing, though, did you find anything interesting, especially because you've never seen the series? I'm guessing you were familiar with some of the stories we were discussing.
Yeah. I'm familiar.
So, but did anything stand out to you? Because the other thing is, it was involved with Angel Studios, which is LDS. Do you know what LDS stands for? And I know you're going to say no, but I just had to put you under the gun.
Legumes that sing.
Close. Latter-day Saints. LDS means Mormons.
Oh, wait.
now.
LDS?
LDS.
I thought you said LTS.
No, I would never say LTS.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, because the LTS means nothing. So, like, I was really concerned about why you would tell me what that means.
Well, that's
If I knew that you said LDS, I
you would
absolutely
have nailed it. Yeah.
I would have added the Paul come on. Yeah,
Clear, yeah,
easily.
no, it's obvious that
Yeah.
you are a Joseph Smith aficionado, and I know you don't know who that is either. But here's what I want you to do to understand: if we are going to speak to someone who's been involved in the chosen, it does teach us a little bit about something that I do want us to be thinking about and aware of as Christ followers. So these guys have taken a lot of heat off of the chosen because they added these little storylines and phrases and so forth within the context of Jesus speaking and maybe other things he might have said. And it's all for sure a license. They're literally taking literal dramatic license because they're trying to imagine what else could he have said. There's so much, the Bible says at the end of John that, maybe if everything he'd ever done was written down, there wouldn't be enough libraries and books that could contain everything that he did. Now, clearly that was as hyperbole or a way of saying that he just did a lot that we haven't talked about. But don't we want to know, right? Don't we want to know more about Jesus and everything we can, because he is our Savior. He is our Messiah. He's everybody's Messiah. Yep, he started with the Jews. Yep, that's who started the whole thing. Most of them rejected him, still do. But those who didn't became Christ followers, and suddenly these Jews became Christians, and they're still available. There's still many Jews who are Christians, as well as the Gentiles that God led in, because he isn't any respecter of persons. I love that. I love that everybody's available. Everybody's has access to him. Even the centurion that told Jesus if he would help his to heal. My goodness, was it his daughter or his slave? One of the two. I just blanked. But anyways, he said, look, you don't even have to go. Just say the word and it'll happen because I have authority. I say, move, you have authority. He said, I've never seen, Jesus said, I've never seen faith like this. He was a Gentile, a centurion. He honored the Jewish religion. And this is a Roman, so they worshiped a lot of other things, certainly not the monotheistic God. So God was already reaching out to everybody, and I believe he does reach out to everybody, including the Hindus, including the atheists, including the Islamists, including the communists, right? Including the Buddhists. I mean, whomever, polytheists, right? Pagans. God made us, wants us to know him. We can't get to him. He got to us through Jesus. It's amazing story. And what I love, son, is it's true. This guy really existed. None of these other supposed dying and rising guys were real. Or if they were some foreign god that came out of the hierarchy of what God created in the beginning. And they were there to deceive. They were demonic. They were there to deceive people into the false Christ. Either way you want to look at it. They were not close to the actual physical, historical, geographically validated God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob that showed up through prophecies and ended up being Jesus. And we got proof of it. So it's one of a kind because it's true. It's the truth. And yeah, a lot of people ain't going to believe it. Jesus said a lot of people are going to be called. Few are going to be chosen. It's going to be hard. You're going to be expected to be a disciple. It's the hardest thing you'll ever do. And yet it will change your life. You will begin to live supernaturally, naturally. So to me, I think it's important for Christ followers to be able to differentiate between content and context. Try to allow the Spirit to move. God, is it okay? I know they're taking some liberties here with your voices, but as long as it's not biblically inaccurate or it's trying to paint a false Christ, then I think it just makes it more interesting, more fun, more beautiful for us as humans to connect to you. And if our heart is to get closer to you, then I think you'll redeem that, even if it doesn't always make sense to us. And I promise that these guys are praying and asking God for wisdom in writing this material because they want to honor him, not dishonor him. The people that are involved in the writings of Christ's followers. So anyways, that's why it's important. But listen, instead of me trying to speak for Adam Drake, the first day of the chosen, let him speak for himself, because that way you guys can hear the questions. If you will follow if you're on X or if you are on YouTube, write comments, and and ask questions. And so we try to come in sometimes and answer them, even if it's the next day, right, or whatever. So I want to engage with you. I want you to care about what I'm doing. If you're a church, if you're a ministry that wants to bring me in, keep in mind, it is a ministry. I do comedy, but it's no longer my driving force. The comedy is what makes me interesting and unique, but I'm there to bring people to a closer walk with Christ by becoming disciples, not to just be saying a prayer about being a Christian. It's going to the deep places. It's the expectation of costing you everything. It's what should have been done all along in America churches. So I want to come alongside you, Pastor, and assist you with a prophetic voice to the church about lighting a fuse under your congregation to move into the deeper places and know that you help them navigate with your gift, which is to be a pastor. So that being said, I want you to know that we will be having soon some fundraising. We're going to try to have a budget. We're going to try to grow. I promise there's going to be more videos out there. They won't necessarily be here on the podcast. They might be just out on the social internet thing, but it's all part of this ministry to tell the story in entertaining ways, in unapologetic ways, in humorous ways. I hope in inspiring, deep ways, wise ways. And that's my ministry. That's what Brad Stein, who just wanted to be a comedian, became, because I told God, I'll go where you send me. He said, you're going to the church. And this is how I will tell my story in this season in America. And to do that, you need to be sophisticated. You need to be able to differentiate good from bad, evil from holy, and maybe be able to discern if something's off base. And if so, then maybe you can write them a note or say, listen, I'm concerned. Can you help me in this? This didn't make sense. This feels unbiblical. Just be kind and assume that they're trying to do the best they can, and they want to inspire people to come to know about Jesus. And there has been many testimonies, people coming to Christ from the chosen. So if it's demonic, then he's a fool, because he's using it to bring people out of the satanic kingdom and into God. So folks, I think you're going to enjoy this. And again, if you're fans of the show, you're going to get an inside view of how it really works from a guy who sits there behind the camera as it's being filmed day by day. And I think they're in season 5 or 6. I think they're getting ready to wrap, but then they may be moving to a whole new series. So that's where we're at. That's what this is. Always try to bring interesting people that I think might intrigue you. And I hope I've done that again today. So in just a minute, sitting right here, will be an interview with the first assistant director of The Chosen. With Brad Stein Has Issues. What's his name? Well, how about Adam Drake? You know, when Brad Stein Has Issues, we have all kinds of interesting people who do interesting things and make creativity just a simple, walk in the park. But others don't. Others traverse through the difficult sloughs of the swamp to create things that are so difficult and so exhilarating, and to honor Christ, that they do it for a number of reasons. One, to put the product out that can best honor our Lord, but also to create as much controversy as they possibly can, because what fun is it to have all the Christians just get on board with something without going nuts? And so that's why we're going to talk to this next gentleman, who I've known for quite a few years, though I haven't seen him for that many. But he got involved with a very interesting and successful Christian project. And so we're going to talk about it, and him, and life, and evangelicalism, and judgment, and Pharisaicism, and everything else that comes with being part of The Chosen. And he happens to be the first AD, so he knows everything, and he does an entire job in a loincloth. So please welcome First AD Chosen, Adam Drake. How do you do, my friend?
Hello. Thanks
How
for
are you,
having
brother?
me. Good to be here.
Well, good to have you. So, as you know, and I know this is still deeply embedded in your mind, we did a short film together many years ago called Covering Your Tracks.
Yes.
And we even did a scene together.
We did.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I didn't even think about that until you brought it up.
We
sure
did a little
It was a lot of
scene,
fun.
and you did a great job. I don't know, is acting something you did before you got behind the
Yes.
camera? Okay.
That's how I got into the business. Was
Okay.
acting.
I didn't know.
I didn't know anything about filmmaking. Knew nothing about it.
Yeah.
had no involvement. I was a jock. I was a sports guy,
Oh, okay.
and then stumbled on the acting. And then as soon as I got into acting and saw my first film set, absolutely fell in love.
Something magic about it.
Yes,
It really is. It's hard to explain for people that are into it. I mean, I think it's intimidating and scary for everybody else. It's like anything in the arts. It's so difficult for people to wrap their minds around it. If you're not an artist, it just feels so foreign. Like, how do you do that? How are you not scared? How and it's so hard. It is a challenge. I think you do kind of need a gift at it because it's so unnatural to do film acting. I mean, at least in a play, it's kind of flowing in sequence and everybody's kind of in period costuming and everything stays consistent. And so it can feel easier maybe to ease into the dialogue. But not with film, man. You never know what sequence it's going to be, and how you have to be in one particular emotional state immediately, and then it's hard. There's a reason why there's really great actors and those who aren't. But what do you think makes a great actor?
That's a good question.
It's the only kind I have. I used to do the crappy questions. It seems like not as good.
Yeah, that's your old podcast.
I know that's the one that got booted.
I've always said listening. I think some of my favorite actors are really good listeners.
Who's your favorite actors?
Oh, I mean, I love Leonardo DiCaprio just because he can do.
He's very good.
Anything.
He's very good.
I've seen him in all kinds of roles, and I always believe it. You know what I mean? Like, he's been in just such kind of unique, different roles that have nothing to do with the last role.
Yeah.
And so I love that. I love when I can see such a range on an actor, and I don't see the actor, I see the character they're playing.
Yeah, no, that's so important.
Yeah.
And when you do act or have done it, and especially if you make films, boy, it's really obvious. People that are just seamless with it. It's it's almost like people that like great actors just know that they're being entertained or being moved by it. But people in the business just so appreciate the craft. Like, oh my gosh, this guy, you can just tell, how do you do it like that? Because it's so difficult. But I mean, guys like, to me, Anthony Hopkins, to me, I think is just wonderful. And of course, Daniel Day-Lewis and Meryl Streep, people that just really make it feel so natural and real.
And there's a difference in seeing it in person too. So I got to work with Mel Gibson. And the moment he walks into the scene, you're just mesmerized.
Interesting.
Because you're seeing the craft of it in person.
Yes.
It's you're just blown away.
But they know they're doing something that they've learned that you can't quantify. It just is there. I think one of the best things I learned about in acting class, and I was with a guy named Aaron Spicer in Beverly Hills, and he was very good and dealt with a lot of really well-known actors. But one of the things that he really taught me was, the difference between film acting and, on a live, like theatrical production, whatever, is that the camera catches everything. It doesn't miss anything. And so you have to trust that you're just being real and the camera will pick it up. But if you're kind of an amateur at it, you feel like you need to project or create or I guess, prove the scene or prove the emotion. But the good actor knows, I know exactly what's in here, and you're going to see it, and it's going to feel like I did nothing. I remember, what was her name? The girl that Donald Trump hates. Rosie O'Donnell. She was in that League of Their Own, and it was like her first film, and she was watching the lead actress, which was forgot, but anyways, she's well known. But she said she would watch her do it, and she's like, she's not doing anything. It's like, what? I don't get it. This is dumb. And then you'd see the dailies or whatever, and you go, what? How did you do that? So there's something beautiful about subtext, about keeping it all kind of really in here, and it just naturally comes out. But nobody knows that's going on when they're watching the film. You're just thinking they're acting like something. So, but you ended up getting in The Chosen, which obviously is, I don't know, one of the most successful episodic faith-based projects ever.
It is, yeah.
I mean, I don't know how else you would.
Yeah,
put
it's
it.
the number one crowdfunded project of all time. So
Mhm.
it started out crowdfunding, and it's that includes Christian and secular.
Really?
Fun fact: Mystery Science Theater 3000. Did you ever watch that?
Sure.
That was the number one crowdfunded project before Chosen.
Wow.
We surpassed it. In
Wow.
our first season, yeah.
And how many seasons has it been?
6. So we just finished filming season 6. I just got back home.
Okay.
5 seasons are out right now. Season 6 we just got done filming. There will be 7, so there's one more.
And where do you film?
Texas and Utah.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I got to say that I was curious about The Chosen because it's a sad testimony, but you've been in this business a long time. You know what I'm about to say. But unfortunately, when it's prefaced with Christian, you assume, well, this is going to suck.
Yeah.
This is going to be low budge. This is going to be cornball. This is going to be just embarrassing to a degree. And of course, that shouldn't be the case. Our lineage is the Sistine Chapel and the Pieta and, symphonies and so forth. And so the arts have always been very much a beautiful part of the Christian experience. And we would promote them, and we would believe that they dealt with transcendence and showed us something deeper and better about the human experience through the arts. And somewhere around the line, we found ourselves being less comfortable in that world, or even felt it was sinful or secular or whatever. And it cost us a lot, especially influence in culture.
Mm-hmm.
So do you feel like doing Christian projects, and of course The Chosen is on the nose. I mean, it's telling the Bible story.
Yeah,
so it's not really nuanced. But do you think there's an obligation to Christians in how they do their art and how they create craft as far as representing the faith well? Don't you think that goes along with being a good witness, is being great at what you do, especially in the arts?
Yeah, totally. I think in my world, I kind of do both. So I do secular films and faith-based films, and the faith, but my role on the set is less creative. It is more logistical and solving problems and making it all happen, right?
Yeah.
So in my instance, in what I do, I can do a Christian film, which is very rewarding and very, like, obviously it's incredibly a part of The Chosen that is changing lives across the world.
Yeah.
But also to work on a secular film to have impact on them. And I'm in a unique position where I'm basically the boss and I run the set, tell everybody where to go and what to do. So I'm
as the first AD,
as the first assistant director on a secular set. I'm ahead over a lot of people, but I can still do that with grace and teach and a witness. So for me, I can do it in both. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I do think it's a hard world creatively to get into the secular market and still creatively be a Christian. That's a much more difficult task for sure. But mine's kind of a little bit easier, right? Because I can still just be a witness and be in my leadership role of doing the day-to-day things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, and sets are weird because I do think that a lot of times the project that you're creating oftentimes reflects the tone of how it feels on set. Obviously, if you're doing a family-friendly dog in the, getting in the car wash, funny, silly, it's a lighthearted set. People are probably friendly and kind and whatnot. And then you do some dark, R-rated, whatever, mature thing, and it's
very different.
Totally. But it reflects the whole vibe of the set. It's not like people come in and they're all happy-go-lucky and now let's go be the serial killer. Something dark comes upon dark films, I think, and it can also be less enjoyable. I certainly have seen the difference between stories that were so lighthearted that made everybody excited to get on set, and stories that are a little bit darker and just different. I don't know. People don't seem as connected. So you're with the ultimate story, the story of stories. So I have to assume that people love it and they feel very connected in a deeper way, spiritually, as well as emotionally, physically, psychologically, as actors. But I have to also assume you're trying to get the best talent, which means it's likely not all of them are actually Christians or whatever. So how did that pan out? Like when you were casting, whatever, did that even come into the consideration as to their faith, or was it strictly who can do the job?
For Dallas, it was strictly who could do the job. It was, who is best for this role as an actor. It didn't matter their faith, which is very different than the Kendricks. So what's fun is I host a podcast too, and I just had the Kendrick brothers on, who make those films, and that's a requirement for them. Like we are only going to cast people that are pointing towards Jesus and also a great actor. Whereas
hard to find those two.
It is hard to find those two. It is.
It is. It's one of the two.
It goes from a pool here to a pond, a very small area for sure. But they feel like that's what God has called them to do, and that's what they're doing. And it's not like, oh, we won't hire non-Christian actors, or it's not that. It's just like, hey, this is what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And they don't condemn somebody like Dallas Jenkins who going, hey, for your film, this is what you want to get the best actors. And so, we just did it like any normal film will do, where we got a casting agent and look for the best actors, and got a lot of auditions. We're also very limited too, because there's nobody in the film that looks like me. There's no white guy. There's none of us. There's no white guys, white males in the show. So that also kind of limits your pool, is that you're looking for ethnic background actors to look more Jewish. Because
and are they Jewish always, or sometimes they just have that more of that Mediterranean look?
Right. Yeah. Not all our actors are for sure Jewish, but they would have that look, that darker skin, darker complexion. Yeah. Yeah.
And so, were you involved in the casting at all?
No, I'm not involved in the
casting. So that was Dallas only.
Yeah, Dallas, and we have a casting director, and then, just those selects.
So Dallas had an interesting ride, because I know that he had done something prior to that. I just blanked on the name.
Resurrection of Evanston.
Yes. And, I don't think that it did what he was hoping. I think it financially or whatever, it's so hard to make money in a movie. It's such a gamble. If you're investing in movies to make money, you're an idiot. It's just,
I tell people all the time, it's not a good investment, because you can make a great film. You can make a really good film. That doesn't mean it's going to make money. Doesn't mean it's going to perform well.
No.
I've seen it many times. For instance, Dallas's Resurrection of Evanston is a great film. He did a great job. And he had lots of big time producers involved, and was really kind of setting his career up.
Well-known actors, I think.
Yeah. Yep. And it just tanked in the box office, and he lost all that. But that's what's so cool about his testimony, which you can see online on YouTube and anywhere else. But his testimony is part of that, is that he was in it for himself originally, and pushing his career and all those things. And the Lord, once that failed, that humbled him, and he was done. He was like, gave it up, said, I'm willing to give this up for you, Lord. What do you have for me? And then out of that birth, the Chosen series, which is pretty amazing.
Well, and his dad was so successful with his book series, so he kind of had some big shoes to fill too. I'm sure he felt, I want to compete at that level and so forth. And it's difficult to, the other thing about the arts, is that you can't separate yourself personally from the performance, because it's you. I'm a comic. So if they don't like my comedy, they don't like me, right? If they're kind of booing me, my existence, my gall to be up here pretending that I have something to deliver that they're going to like. So there's a lot at stake. If you are easily offended and can't do well with rejection, because this business, you had better get used to the word no, because that's going to be what you'll hear 99 times out of 100. It's going to virtually be every time no. And here's the other thing. There's no rhyme or reason why they say yes. We've all seen the guy that got the part, and you go, that doesn't make any kind of sense. So do you, well, you said you're not involved in the casting at all, but what do you think? I mean, is it just as basic as you have the right look, which I know my casting, the guy that I used to train under, he said, most of the auditions are done the moment the guy walks in the door. They just know, they can just tell he hasn't the feel. And then you get there and you start becoming the character, and then they make the second judgment. But have you ever felt anybody on the set or anybody in the scenes or anybody watching that you're in your head, you're going, this guy's not really what I do?
Yeah, not on The Chosen, honestly.
No?
Just because because it was birthed from this indie world, so
Yeah.
there wasn't any of that political hiring. There also wasn't us going. He wasn't going after any names, any named characters. You just go, oh, you automatically have the role. Every single person actually auditioned for that role or for that moment. So they did have to have a certain look, and it starts there. But every one of them had to go through a pretty extensive audition process. So no, honestly, our cast on The Chosen is really good, and I feel like everybody's kind of fallen into that perfect role on the show.
Well, so talk about pressure. How do you like to say, you get the breakdowns? We're looking for Jesus. I mean, what a uniquely problematic role to fill. It's not like Caesar. It's not like Abraham Lincoln, even famous, well-known people, none of which we've ever seen in person. So it's not like we really know what they were like, but we get this idea in our head. Jesus is like another thing. I'm trying to think how you would prepare for that, those scenes, because you're representing something beyond just a guy delivering a good, nice, moral man delivering a particular, because that's every story. There's the good guy, and there's the antagonist and the protagonist, and the redemption and the destruction. And suddenly you have this one guy that is playing Jesus, and it just, I don't know, would there be an extra pressure? Would there be a sense of, how do I even begin to approach this character? And of course you're with his Jonathan Remy, is that
Remy?
Remy? So he's playing this character, and I'm just thinking, what have you seen with how he approaches this? Is it something he grapples with? Does he find himself almost like, now I'm sure he's locked into the groove of it, but I don't know, did you see him wrestling with how to even go about playing this guy that is as iconic as it gets, literally, because he's Jesus? What do you think?
Yeah, him and Dallas had already done a couple shorts together where he played Jesus.
Oh,
so he'd done it before, and that went really well. But yeah, I think the way that Jonathan approaches it is the right way to approach it. And I've seen him many times before an emotional scene, or a scene where he's really got to bring it, which there's a lot of those, pretty much all of them, and we usually give him a moment to step away, and he'll step away and he'll just pray and say, Lord, I don't even know, I don't know his prayer, right? He does that privately, but him and I have become pretty good friends and have had conversations about it. But I know he's praying something like, Lord, fill me up, because I don't know how to play this. Like, I don't, like, how would your son have done this? Like, how do you want, like, so he's been very humble about it, which is incredible. And the way it has to be approached would be my first response is humble, because you gotta, just like we have to do as Christians, I think you gotta die to yourself and go, okay, Lord, teach me how to do this.
That's right.
I gotta die to myself here and play you.
Well, but literally, ironically, if that's even the right word, though, Adam, is Christianity calls you to die to yourself. In other words, theoretically, we're shooting for the time when we no longer have an ego involved, that God just speaks through us. And that's what we're shooting for. That's what it means to be a disciple. So he's kind of, in some interesting way, literally having to become, God, Holy Spirit, which if he's a Christian, right? I guess he's a Christian. Yeah. So he's saying, Holy Spirit,
boom me up,
that was in real Jesus.
Yeah.
That's now here.
Yeah.
Show me how to be that guy, because I feel like there's a lot at stake there. I think there's a lot of responsibility to playing that character that is beyond just doing it well. So it's interesting that I met him in Dallas once. We did the Huckabee show. We happened to be on at the same time.
Oh, cool.
But I think it might have been one of the first years or two, so I hadn't known much about it. And so I didn't know a lot about it, other than I had heard a little bit, and it was getting good reviews. The first time I stumbled upon it, like I said, I heard about this thing that we do an episodic series on life of Christ and the Gospels and whatever. And I'm thinking, well, okay, we've seen a million of those,
Yeah,
and
course.
I don't know what you're going to do to jazz this thing up, because I mean, the story isn't going to change. We all know how it ends. We know, that in the flood, this guy's going to survive. We know that, he will get off the cross. He will come back. So, there's it's a lot of spoilers because we know it's
Yep.
coming. And you're telling a story over and over and over again. So I really was curious, well, what are they going to do? What texture are they going to add to this thing? And I saw a trailer, I think it was a trailer or maybe just a clip. First thing I ever saw. And it was the woman at the well.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, go tell your husband, that I'm here. And she, well, I don't have anything to know because you've had 7 husbands, whatever it is. And well, we've all heard that.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, that story again. And then, I'm guessing you may remember this. You've seen a lot of episodes, so you might forget. But something to the effect of he kind of took a pause. And he goes, his first name was Joseph, and he smelled of the rinds of oranges,
Mm-hmm.
and you sensed his softness as he would brush your shirt, whatever. And I remember going, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I see what they've done because all we've ever heard was, because he just says, yeah, go tell no, I don't got, no, you've had 7. And she runs home and goes, this guy has told me everything that has ever happened well, he didn't say anything other than you had a bunch of husbands.
Right.
So I feel like what you guys were saying was, well, what did he say? What was he bringing up to this woman to let her go, you know me? What is going on? And I thought it was cool. I thought it was beautiful. It made me feel a more vicarious connection to the story, and
definitely.
gave it more life and more texture.
Mm-hmm.
And I really appreciated it. And yet, interestingly, it's that very license that has caused some problems with this, because people think it's taking advantage of a scripture and saying things or doing things that aren't necessarily certainly accurate. We don't know what was said, but almost like you don't have the permission, maybe.
Sure.
So how did you guys wrestle with the dramatic license that you took, which, by the way, I think is what makes it really cool.
Right.
But is there a sense of, is this getting us off biblically track?
Yeah.
I know this is the questions you guys have had a million times, but
Sure.
I'm curious your thoughts on how you navigate.
Yeah, because I think before The Chosen, there was basically 2 options that had been made in media, right? There's like strictly by the Bible, word for word, playing it on screen, which obviously hasn't worked well in the past, I would say. Very stale, cheesy, corny, or bad acting, or any of those things. And then there's been ones that go the other way that are basically like, there's a little bit of scripture in there, and they've gone well off the deep end.
Yeah.
And The Chosen, I think, has done a great job of finding that middle ground of telling a great story and filling in the gap. But doing it the way they've done it is for the parts that are not scripture, for those the oranges and things like that. For instance, obviously we have 3 writers on the show, and the writers are all believers too, and they have their own personal walks with the Lord. So they're putting some of that in there too, right? They're putting some stuff that's related to them in there. And then what they do is, after they write these scripts, is they take it to biblical scholars. There's tons of biblical scholars that they actually sit down with and go, what could have been more elaborated here, or which direction could this have went? And let's back it up with scripture. So it's like, even if we were to fill in those 3 spots that are not in the Bible, does it go against scripture? And if the answer is no, well, then it's okay. Then it's okay to keep in the story, right? If it's not going against scripture, and they're getting that fact check not by themselves as the writers, but also by many biblical scholars and even rabbis and things like that. They have multiple people that check the scripts and go, here's where you're riding the line, here's where, and all those things. And then they finalize the scripts, and then we go film it. But they are doing the work outside of the normal writing to also fact check and go, how close are we to the Bible? Because we don't want to dishonor the Bible.
Right.
This is scripture based. And then the answer to the people who have a problem with it, of course, is, well, this is not the Bible. This is a show for entertainment. Enjoy the show, then go read your Bible.
Right.
Because you might go, wait, I don't remember if that was in the Bible or not when Jesus says something. You go, wait, was that in the Bible? Well, that's the whole point. Go look and read your Bible. If it was, great. If it's not, well, then See if it,
Yeah.
check it yourself and go, huh, would he have said something like that? Does that go against scripture?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that at the end of the day, that's what's more important, is getting the person to go
Yeah.
sit down with the actual Bible, not sit down with the chosen.
Do you feel like in retrospect you've ever seen moments where you guys later go, I guess we shouldn't have done that one, like, or something that you later regretted a little bit? Has that ever happened?
I mean, again, I'm not in the writing room, and
I'm just saying,
and,
after
and,
and
yeah, yeah, no, I get what
watching
you're
the
saying.
afterwards, you're going, oh man,
And there's been definitely some things where it's like, like I feel like Dallas has said, I want to speak for Dallas, but I feel like he said like, I could have left that out, and it's caused so much controversy that he didn't expect, right? So there's been some moments like that where there's lots of
give me
controversy.
an
over
example
some,
though. I'm
like I was
curious.
thinking, the first one that comes to mind is when Jesus is practicing the sermon. Everybody threw a big fit about that one.
Because he was
Because he was
practicing,
practicing,
like he
the
was
Beatitudes.
rehearsing.
Mhm.
Okay, I didn't
Yeah.
see that. But,
And
okay.
and they say practicing, but Dallas Dallas has gone online and defended it and talked about all the different things. But it's like, it's one of those things where it could have easily, we could have cut out 5. I mean, he literally he just like walks off on his own. I don't know if you've seen it. He just like walks off on his own and starts like working through the Beatitudes for like 10 seconds. So it's one of those things where it probably could have easily been cut too, and there would have been no issues. But I also think that's good, because what that did is stir up a lot of people to have those discussions.
What do you think they were trying to say with that premise of as though he was trying to figure this out in his head? Because it does give the, and I'm not even judging it. I'm just curious from an artistic standpoint. It is implying that he's trying to figure the correct wording, and then you would think, well, the Son of God kind of didn't need rehearsal.
Right.
He knows what he's going to say.
Yeah.
So in that regard, why do you think he gave some leniency on that particular? That makes
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I haven't had that conversation with Dallas, and he put up a video talking about it, and I don't remember. Honestly.
Oh, okay. I just
But one I can speak into that for me though would be also in that same vein. He was talking when he's working through the sermon with Matthew, and Matthew's taking notes. There's people that have issues with that one too, because he's working through the sermon and asking Matthew for notes on his sermon, basically, as he's going to preach the Beatitudes. And a lot of people had a problem with that. And I was like, for me, and that's the thing is, like, again, like you said, I think earlier on, film is interpretive, like, and the way it's received. So I don't receive that scene the same way you receive that scene, or it might look, speak to me differently than it does you. And so during that scene, a lot of people were like, he wouldn't ask Matthew for notes. Like he doesn't need notes on a sermon. He's the Son of God. He's perfect. I'm like, yes, but what it said to me is he's pulling Matthew in. Of course he knows what he's going to say. To me, it's speaking, he's pulling Matthew in and helping teach him. And like, even though he's like asking for notes, he knows what he's going to say. He's pulling him in and luring him in to help him like with the sermon to write it down and just to learn it himself, So again, all that stuff's kind of open it.
Well, but this is kind of going back to what I was referencing earlier, is that this is unique character. There's nobody else like Jesus. He is the game changer. He is the one of a kind. He's the most influential, famous man in human history. There's nobody like him. He changed worlds, governments, cultures, everything. He is the embodiment of Israel in Judaism. He is the completion of Christianity. He is the one that liberated all people to be equal. No Jew, no Gentile, no bond or free, no male or female. He's literally the one that said everybody is welcome. I'm the monotheistic God, dimensionalized. And it's true. It's historically real. And so it's like, it's almost impossible to replicate how to even go about this thing, because there's no precedent for somebody like this. Because even the most powerful person in history, is flawed, and you can see all the kinks in their armor, including David's and Moses's and even our own patriarchs. So it does seem like it's almost impossible to do anything with him that isn't going to make people uncomfortable to a degree, because there's nothing like that. So what I am curious about though is, do you take it personally? You're part of the project. You're on the other side of it. You're helping to make the product. It sounds like a crude way to put it, but it is. It's a product. You're creating something to consume. And so do you find yourself taken it personally when people have some issues with it? Do you find like, or have you kind of disassociated, like, oh, I'm just making the thing that's on there, or is it a little bit deeper for you than that?
Yeah, no, not at all. I mean, especially since I'm not involved with the writing and the creativity of it, I don't like people's slander of it or against it. Yeah, I'm like, no big deal. I mean, I love to defend it. Like, so if if I don't end up in a lot of those discussions because I am the logistics side of it, but I would enjoy defending it and going, here's why. Of basically just what I was saying of like the point of it is it points you to the Bible. So no, but I don't take it personally at all. No.
Well, but what you are making clear is that you guys take it seriously. These discussions are had. It's not like it's just frivolous.
Right.
You're really trying to
we're
make.
just being creative and making it the best
trying to think
story
it
that
through.
we want. Right.
Okay.
It is very much like, let's make it the best story we can, but then let's also back it up and make sure that we're doing it right, and not just by our own judgment, but of other fellow Christians.
So I don't want to get on the weeds about the controversy, but it needs to be discussed because it gives you a chance to maybe respond to folks who have been on the fence about it or whatever, or confused or concerned. And I will say this, Adam, I've been doing the evangelical community as a comic and so forth for many, many years. And so, the truth is, from my standpoint, I have had my feelings hurt. I have been personally felt insulted and slandered and maligned in things that people would say, because I know me. I know what I'm trying to do. I know I have the best intent. I know I'm going to screw up. But I feel like people, when they're looking at art, they don't understand there's real people doing this. And it's hurtful when you're, not that you're making criticism, that you have a right to do that. But when it's presuming the worst of their character, or you don't know Dallas Jenkins and his faith walk, what he's trying to do. And the truth is, none of you had the courage, the wherewithal, the ability to do what he did. So when you do your own version, then you can do whatever you want. But when somebody else is trying to do the thing, it's almost like people want, all they have to in a ministry is to criticize somebody else's ministry. So is there anything, and again, I'm not trying to get in Dallas's head or even get out of school. I'm just curious, have you ever seen him anguish or things that you feel like was unfair to him that he had to wrestle with to let him know, hey, he's a guy, man, trying the best he can. Maybe you ought to back off a bit. Have you seen times when it's been affected him psychologically a bit?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. There's been a few moments I've said, I think that it's affected him, but Dallas's joke to that, and what he always says, he says, my spiritual gift is I don't care. Like, so he actually is very good about all the comments, all the negative things. Like, he truly doesn't bother him. It truly doesn't care. He's like, I know.
It's part of that because it's successful. So it's like, you can't destroy this. So I'm already good.
But even early on, before it took off, he had that. It was like, I know this is what I'm called to do and what I'm supposed to be doing right now. So you can say whatever you want, but I know I'm in the right place. And so I know I've been in that place in my life a couple times too, where it's like, I know what I'm doing right now is what God has called me to do, and there's no question about it. So you can slander me however you want. I'm not changing, and it's not going to affect me.
What would you say is the most misunderstood or represented problem people have brought up the most? Is there one thing that people have the most, when you've seen the problem people or what are the controversies, what do you think has been the number one problem people bring up?
I mean, I would say it's mainly what we've been talking about, just the fact that like people think that we're blaspheming the Bible because we're not, because we're filling in the gaps, of those places that aren't in the Bible. So that what we've been talking about is definitely probably the biggest issue I feel like I've seen the most. Then there's the whole Mormon thing too, just because we were with Angel Studios, which is founded by Mormons. And so, but Dallas has always been very clear that he's not Mormon and that the show is not based on Mormonism or Latter-day Saints. It's from his perspective, which is an evangelical Christian. So that's been a big thing too. But it's like, if you just did a little bit of research, you're like, oh, it's not.
Yeah. Well, I know he's not. And Angel Studios, which did Dry Bar, right? Did they do that? Well, because I was on that. I was on Dry Bar. I was on the first season before everything blew up, and everybody got famous but me because I was in the first season. But
sorry about that.
They were nice guys. I forgot that Harmon. Maybe?
Yeah, the Harmon brothers.
Yeah, and very nice guy.
Yeah, wonderful.
And
super
and
smart
whatever.
dudes.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, listen, LES are really good business guys. I don't know what it is. These guys really have this savvy. They had this marketing team that made commercials and whatever, and they were really good. It was really, really good. Like, wow, what is it about you guys that have, and you don't think of them artistically, you think of them as kind of almost like high end, Amish, like, just really odd. But do you feel like there's ever been any influence from that angle, like from their theological?
No, not at
They've
all.
never tried to even involve themselves.
No, they were just
Were they like
distribution. They weren't
executive
even-
producers or something?
No, I mean they might have had an executive title, but they weren't even touching it until it was done. Like we had already written,
So they were
shot
just
it,
distribution.
edited it. They were just distribution, yeah.
Okay.
So they had no involvement from any of it at the beginning.
Now the crowdfunding came from how?
Now they did help with that. So it was
through their network, their database, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. They saw the pilot that Dallas had made and basically were like, we love this. How can we promote this? How do we get it out there? And they basically they are a big success to the crowdfunding success. They were all over that. They wanted to just get it out there.
Okay. So we've talked about some of the controversies, and again, I'm sure you're tired to death of it, but I figured we might as well bring it up because not everybody has heard all the other stories, and I wanted you to have that chance. But now let's talk of the flip side, the good stories, the testimonies, the things you've heard and seen in people's lives. Let's hear some of those stories. I don't know if people write in, if you've heard of, if somebody come on set, I don't know, but talk to us about some of the effect it's had in people's spiritual life in the positive.
Oh, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's hundreds of thousands, like
of salvations, or just
of people who watched the show and said, I was an atheist, or I was agnostic, or I was whatever, and the show has completely transformed their life, and now they're reading the Bible and going to church, and they were like, I had no idea who Jesus Christ was. I mean, these stories come in literally every day. And then the impact that it's had on believers, on Christians, of just going like, it reactivated my faith, and I got more serious about it and got back into the Word, because I've heard quotes like, when I was reading my Bible, it felt like I was reading my Bible in black and white, and once I watched The Chosen, I felt like I was seeing it in color. Like, so just amazing testimonies like that are quite literally endless. So, for instance, again, I'm just the first assistant director and work on the show. I probably get messages 3 or 4 times a month from people that are either like of them explaining to me how it changed their life. And so, and that's just people in my circle, right? As one of the crew members. Dallas gets, thousands, and the show and is just, again, daily. There's so many testimonies of it changing lives all over the world.
Is it in other languages now?
So we actually just yesterday, just a couple of days ago, we just set the Guinness Book of World Records for the most translated show ever. So, that just happened.
What?
Yeah.
How many?
I don't know. I don't know the number. But I know the goal is to hit to be over 600. Like, is their goal. So we have a foundation called Come and See. That is their goal, is to try to continue to take The Chosen and translate it in as many languages as possible. And their sole purpose is for that, basically.
So who's the funniest of all the cast members?
I mean, honestly, Jonathan Roumie's up there.
Is he?
Jesus, he is at it stinks because he's always got to be in the serious mode. So, but when he can have a few moments to turn it off, he is actually quite hilarious. We've got a lot of funny people. Luke, who plays Judas, also a very serious character over the last couple seasons, is he's like improv guy, just absolutely hilarious. I did a podcast with him, and we just like let him go for 10 minutes, like just have fun.
And where's he from?
Where is he from? I'm not sure. I think
because are they all Americans?
Yeah, I mean, most of them are in America now, and they're either LA or New York. Most of them were, full time.
So it wasn't European guys that you
right?
brought
No,
in,
but we do have some. Like I know we have a couple from Australia, some from Spain. We've definitely got some from overseas for sure.
Yeah. Give us some stories that nobody knows, like some funny behind the scene things that would just kind of humanize these guys even more.
Sure.
Tell me something that, hopefully shocking, that would, cause us to all try to cancel the person immediately.
Right. Oh, that's tough. I mean, we tell stories all the time of different ones, like specifically on the actors or just in general.
I don't know. How about something that maybe if you can just think of something that somebody wouldn't have known, obviously, because they don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
Sure.
That would be just kind of funny or unexpected, some silly thing that happened, especially because if there's fans and they remember a particular scene, a particular famous episode, say, oh yeah, what you should have known is right before that, the guy fell into the well or what, I don't know. Just, I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I just thought there might be some inside baseball stuff for people that.
Sure. If I go back and think about it, there's a lot, but like, so we just finished season 6, which was season 6 is, no spoiler, is the crucifixion. And so it was a really tough season. So there was a lot less joking this season. It felt like, cause it was just, we're always in a serious mindset. So coming off of that, I'm like, man, when did we have fun? The first thing that comes to mind, which I guess this is a spoiler because everybody knows that Jesus is going up on the cross, but we were like testing out the rig of the cross and like putting him up because it's actually quite difficult to put a man on a cross safely without actually hurting him.
Without crucifying
you know how
him.
difficult that is? Yeah. I can't tell you how many hours we spent like.
I mean, because it's like maybe dropping down
exactly.
or it's
or even
rough.
just sitting there.
Okay.
Just putting a person up there to sit that long. You can do like a bicycle seat underneath them, but that's not comfortable very long.
Right,
you can put like a little footstool
so
for when you're
literally
not
to try to
seeing their
make him
feet.
just logistically be
How do
able
you
to
put a
hang
guy up here
and not make it look like
for a couple hours without
thing.
and it doesn't look fake and he's not actually really hurting.
Right.
And Jonathan still did. I mean, even all the precautions we took, still after he'd be up there for 20 minutes, I mean, he had to get down because you just your legs are cramping and like just because you're in a weird position.
Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy. We shot the crucifixion for 3 weeks. So he was up there for a very long time. Anyways, one of the fun facts when we were kind of testing that and figuring that out, he was up there and he had just finished for the day. So he was a little more relaxed. He was finished where he wasn't working that day. But as we're like, he was riding the cross up as we're raising it up. And he was like, oh, I'll just go ahead and get on it. Because we could do multiple things where he could climb up there or I could rise him up. As he rises up, he's just kicking his feet like a little kid, like this right here. Just going, wee! Just that image of like, as we're like, it's just been a hard couple of days and we're shooting the crucifixion. Like that was just like, it was nice. It was kind of like a nice break,
How many episodes per season?
8 episodes per season, and there will be 7 seasons.
So it has to finish simply because the story is done. I mean, right? So you said this season is the crucifixion. So he's still dead, I guess. And then when the final season comes in, he'll be resurrected, and you'll have 8 episodes, I guess, of him revealing himself, ascending, I guess, and then maybe a little left of the apostles and going forward. Like, now what? How do we start this new thing? So is that already even been written? Do we already know what's coming? Do you already
I've not, so I haven't, as of right now, I've not seen season 7 scripts. I should get them in the next month or two. I'll get them, several months in advance before we start filming. So no, I'm not sure exactly what it covers. But we won't get into the Book of Acts too much. We won't get in the Book of Acts too much because they're going to do a spinoff series in the Book of Acts.
Oh, that makes sense.
For sure. After season 7 is done.
Okay. And that's where they need the white guy.
Yeah. For sure, that's where we can.
Finally.
We can do another scene together.
Finally. I was thinking me, frankly.
Yeah,
but yeah, you can come in too.
Yeah, I'll do a small appearance.
Okay, so they already have a spinoff prepared. That's cool.
Yeah.
So it's going to be sad when it ends, huh? It's going to be a little different. I mean, you guys put this many years into it. It's got to feel like a family. It's got to be.
Yeah. It's been a lot of the same people, not from the very beginning, but pretty close. Crew-wise, there's probably 15 people that have been there from the very first episode till now. But then there's a ton of people that have been like with us since season 2, where they've been with us every season. So yeah, it's a really good crew. It's grown a lot. It's a lot bigger than it was, obviously, but everybody's really close, and the cast too, which is really cool. The cast has really grown together, been together for the last 8 years. So yeah, a lot of friendships made. So yeah, it'll be a tough ending for sure. Yeah.
And when it ends, will it go into syndication? Will it be on Netflix? I mean, what happens after that? Do you know?
Yeah. So the way they watch the show now is it's on the app. And then since we left Angel, it's with Amazon Prime. So it'll go to Prime first, and it'll probably live on Prime. They kind of have us exclusively right now. So Amazon Prime is where you can get season 1 through 5 right now, and on the Chosen app. So I assume it'll continue to live on there.
And what are you most proud of?
Just overall, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, now that you have been part of something that is unique and has proven itself to be proofs in the pudding, most crowdfunding in history, the most translated into the other languages. Yeah. Clearly a one of a kind. Yeah. Not everybody gets one. Yeah. Not everybody gets a brass ring and gets on a hit show or sitcom or film or whatever. So you're part of something that will last long beyond you.
Well, there's the answer right there.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. It's being a part of something that's going to last, that is going to last forever. And I think it's only going to grow more with time. To kind of take it back to the beginning, when you asked me about acting, when I first got into acting, and I just got on set and fell in love, it wasn't just, it wasn't that I just fell in love, but I immediately felt called to it. Like, this is it. This is where the Lord wants me. This is my mission field. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. And one of those things was I just had this deep passion to make biblical films too. I was like, man, I want to be involved with like an epic biblical film. Well, that was 15 years ago. Yeah. And then to now be a part and an important part of the first AD, and I'm also co-producer on the show since season 2, and just so involved and close friends with Dallas and the creators, to just be involved from the very beginning all the way to the end of a show that is going to change history has been incredible. And not only change history, but change lives, and has changed lives. Like I said, hundreds of thousands of lives, to where I still get messages personally from people that, I went to middle school with, or somebody I met one time or something, that finds me and goes, and just messages me and goes, "The Chosen changed my life." Yeah.
Well, that's rare, right? To be in a project that it goes way beyond just, trying to inspire people. And there's been wonderful secular movies that can inspire you and make you feel good about yourself and make better choices and so forth. It's going to be hard to follow. I mean, anything after that now, if you go to this Acts thing or whatever, I'm guessing they'll probably try to do the same kind of formula. Yeah.
It'll actually be a lot of the same cast. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot. So
except for Jesus.
Yeah.
Except for Jesus is gone.
Well, flashbacks or yeah.
And you going forward, what would you want to do now that you've kind of accomplished something you always wanted to do, but you're still young? Do you want to act more? Would you like to kind of maybe create your own things? What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely have a passion to create my own and do my own things, as we were part of when I did the short film.
That was fun.
13 years ago.
I love doing stuff.
I still enjoy that and love that. And so, yeah, but I'm also in this place that, yes, I want to do that, but I'm also in this place of like, I'm really comfortable in a good way of like, this is where God has me right now. And this is where he wants me. So I'm kind of just like, whatever's next is good with me. It doesn't have to be what I want, because I've always been the pusher of like, this is what I have to do next. I'm going to direct this film and I'm going to do this, has been kind of my drive, early on when I was young. But what's great in the last couple of years, the Lord's really been teaching me to kind of back off of that and go and just be good with where I'm at, and continue to as the first AD, I serve other directors.
Maybe we should have said this in the beginning, but just for folks that don't know the technical elements, so that kind of means you kind of design the scenes and help prepare everything that's going to be necessary. I mean, you have prop guys and you got lighting guys and everything, but tell them a little bit about what that would entail for you to have to prepare. So
yeah, as the first assistant director, the first thing I do is I get the scripts. I'm one of the first people to get the scripts, and then I break that down into a schedule. So, and then I build the schedule for which The Chosen is massive, because we shoot, like, we just finished season 6. It was 86 days of shooting, and I have to schedule that over Texas, Utah. So we're moving states. And this year we also shot in Italy. So we shot in Texas, Utah, and Italy. So I got to schedule all that out. And then it's my job logistically to figure that all out and how that all works. So so it's very much, again, like I've said, the logistical side of things. And if you were to walk onto a film set, I'm the voice you hear. I'm the one calling action, cut, telling everybody where to go, what to do. Dallas and the cinematographer are behind the monitor, talking directly to the actors, working through the scene. But my job is communication for everybody else, and basically to keep us moving to where it all happens. And so the Lord has put me into that position that I totally just fell into. And so for me, it feels like I'm serving others. Like I get to serve Dallas to help him make the project that he feels called to make. And so I may not be creatively as much creating the project from scratch, but I'm helping him accomplish what the Lord has called him to do or what he wants to do. And so that's where I was saying, I just, I feel like the Lord's got me in a spot right now where I'm okay in that, because I've always went, my personality is I want to be the leader. I want to be the boss of everybody. And I want to run this and do it the way I want to do it. And he's just got me comfortable in this, like serving others and helping them make the project, especially when I know the Lord's hand is on it, like The Chosen and some other projects I've been a part of, where I'm like, this is where he has me right now, and that's fine. And that's okay. So with that, I'm just continuing to first assistant direct other movies and television shows. Also doing some producing, which is another way you can serve a director or serve someone to go, let me help you make your project that I believe in. And so doing that. And then if the one comes along that I feel like I'm supposed to make, I'd love to direct and make my own.
So for all the Christians listening, watching, it doesn't have to be Christians, but the truth is there's so many people that are believers that want to be in the arts, and it's a challenge. I mean, I remember when I was in class and doing different scenes and whatever, and I realized, there's a lot of films. I don't think I want to do those stories. I just don't want to be part of those stories because of my faith. And it does limit you. It limits your ability to be available for everything like everybody else can be, because they don't have any moral guardrails that they need to be specifically prepared to. So how would you tell them, whether they're an actor, actress, want to get in behind a director, AD, whatever, photographer, DP, what would you tell them? How would you inspire them to follow through that without compromise and yet still do it at the highest level of expertise?
Yeah, I think that it kind of goes along with what I've been saying. I think that you have to, before you even jump in, I think you have to be in a right place with the Lord, in your relationship with the Lord, in your quiet place. That has to be right before you jump in, because how are you going to handle trials, or how are you going to handle when somebody says no, or you don't get the job that you want, or if there is an option and it's like, this one kind of rides the fence on if it's good or bad, I don't know, the character of it. Like, well, if you're not grounded in your relationship with the Lord, then you don't know how to answer that, and you're just gonna make your own choice and go like, yep, well, that's it, and then it turns out to be something really immoral that you didn't expect it to be immoral. So I think you need to start with a place before you ever get there, for sure, of that you're in a right place with the Lord, and what you're okay with and what is and what's not.
Do you think there is a obvious line, or do you think it's possible for a Christian to make two guys who are seeking God and are true believers, but they could end up in two different choices? For example, Denzel Washington won't do nude scenes or sexual scenes with and Jim Caviezel won't do that. And there's a few guys, because their faith won't make those, but they'll curse. They'll use all kinds of F and this and that. So another guy might go, oh, that's way off base. So how do you think there's a Christian way to do it, or do you think God gives us enough leniency that if you feel God okay with this language, or I don't even know how you get away with the sex. I know you can do that, but do you think you can make two different decisions and be equally in the proper place where
I think
God
so, because I think that all of us as Christians are in different walks in our life, right? We're all at different levels. Not all of us are in the same place with the Lord, and so if it's a level thing, some of us are at different levels. And so I think that, what I might be okay with and feel, and I've talked to the Lord about it and feel like at peace about it and feel like it's okay, may not be the same for you. Well, I don't think we all have the same convictions.
Right.
That doesn't make it wrong. Yeah. Now there is some that are for sure across the line, like you said, like a sex scene. Yeah,
I don't know how you could get away. You can't there's no way to justify
there's definitely lines in the sand where I would say no. I as a Christian, you cannot do that one. Yeah. But there is the smaller ones or the different ones where it's like, that's between you and the Lord. Yeah. I don't know that so I think that you can be kind of on, as a Christian, be on different levels, and that's okay. And I think we got to have a little bit of grace for each other with that, because your grace towards that person could help them come over the line to where it is. Maybe it is, a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like like the language thing. Like if you as an actor is like, I will not use language in anything I do, and whereas this actor will. But if you show grace towards me and not come at me for like, well, you're not being a Christian because you're using language, like it's not okay. But instead you show grace and go like, and like, hey, I'm not okay with it. And I feel like that's what the Lord has called me to do, is I'm not allowed to use language in my acting, and that's not what I'm going to do. And you just speak that to me and kind of show grace towards me. I think that speaks more to this person that's okay with it to go, maybe I should take that to the Lord and go,
well,
is that
I mean, and I don't think there's a perfect answer. Like you said, I think everybody's going to be in their own space. And as long as you're seeing God, then you're doing the best you can. And you might even regret saying, I shouldn't have done that. Exactly. And I learned that because I remember when, like I said, I did a scene when I was just starting. I finally was getting booked in some things. And you just want to get in front of the camera as much as you can.
Definitely.
And it was a student film anyways. I had to use a curse word. And I'm like, well, that's cool, because that's not me. I'm playing a character. It's not me, but it is me. And I'm the body connected to the character. But I remember thinking, as I got on set, was like, you've spent your life proving that you can be a clean comic and still be as funny as these guys. And your fans have come alongside and trusted you for that. And so suddenly you're going to go do this and use it. And so it made me have to kind of reevaluate and say, I think what maybe this, and again, everybody has to make their own call, but I think maybe the answer is more about the completed project. Would I want to be associated with this story? Is it telling a story in the long run that I think is redemptive, that is consistent with my faith, that makes sense? Because if you think about it, if we don't use a word or a language because we think it's inappropriate or crude or whatever, and so we shouldn't be able to say these words, I said, well, then doesn't that mean a Christian should never be able to play Satan or a demon? They're the ultimate evil. So I can't even play these characters. And yet, how do you show redemption if you don't show corruption and sin? How do you do that? How do you play overcoming a challenge if you weren't first broken? I mean, I remember forget when a guy complained at Lifeway back in the day when they used to have their brick and mortars about The Blind Side, because there was a guy, I think, had a beer in it or gun or something, playing a character, and they pulled the thing out. It's like, this woman got an Oscar. It's a beautiful story about a Christian family, but the gang guy has guns. They drink. I don't know what world are you, and if you may have them go, golly, shucks, it's so false.
Right.
Either don't use the character, but anyways, I mean, I don't think I'm really elaborating on this any more than what you've already said, but I do think there's a lot more to it that we don't give enough grace to each other on our journey, trying to figure out.
Yeah, because you don't. That's the hard part. Is like, you don't know where that person's at. You don't know where they're at in their walk with the Lord, and so, and we're all flawed and we all mess up. So just because they're using language, but you're not okay with language, it doesn't give you the right to come at them and go, well, you can't do that. You're a Christian. It's. I think if you come at it with a grace perspective, that's going to speak more to them and point them to the Lord quicker than your judgment.
Well, it's hard to know those decisions. It is a religion of grace and mercy and forgiveness, and oftentimes, we have to take into consideration, what has God done for us? What has he done for me when I was not worthy and deserving? And if you can replicate that, because we are asked as believers to take a turn being Jesus. That's really what he said. It's your turn to be Jesus, because I'm up there, and one day we'll be reunited. But for right now, your soul is perfect. It's sacred, and it can go into the Holy of Holies. But your flesh, it hasn't caught up, never will. But you're supposed to try. You're supposed to redeem the world, and do that through acting in a disciplined way that people have never seen before. And they might just become believers like us. Well, listen, Adam, thanks for making The Chosen and being part of that, and coming on with me. And it was good to see you after all these years, and just appreciate you taking the time. Doing good work, representing your faith, and being a witness by your craft, I think, is a very missing piece of Christianity. I have said this forever. One of the big problems with Christians in America is we we are taught to judge content instead of context. And so we lose the sophistication that we should be able to be the best of filmmakers, the best of actors, the best of artists, because the creator of all of that is our dad. So let's do that. Let's not talk about it. Let's not make it a bumper sticker. How about we actually live that? So thanks for coming out. I can't wait to see what the final season is. My guess is he resurrects, but who knows? It's The Chosen. You guys,
we could go any direction.
you might grab a whole nother direction. But meanwhile, folks, I hope that you have enjoyed the show. I hope that you've realized and maybe heard a few things you didn't know. And most importantly, that for those of you who are judging, it's like, I got to ask you, well, how many people have you led to the Lord? Because they can account for 100,000. So I don't know. You tell me just exactly what criteria are you basing your particular righteousness on compared to people who are actually doing the hard work. And if nothing else, maybe give people some grace until you've started a ministry, until you created your own project, until you tried to do something and had a bunch of Christians tell you how miserable you are and bad at it. Till then, you don't know how hard this is. And we're doing our best. Pray for them. Do that at least. And let's see if God will do some amazing things and maybe get 601 languages. Yeah. Who knows? They made it to 600. Maybe they make it to 601. Adam Drake, it was a pleasure. Can't wait to see your final project or any other thing. Maybe we'll do something else together someday. Who knows? Folks, remember, if they ever say you're being politically incorrect, always say thank you for the compliment. You always want to be a true believer, and that means you never live in lies. And me, just a comic, actor, whatever else I am, I'm not sure. But this is what I do know I do. I'm putting the woke back to sleep. See you next Monday.